What's up, y'all? I'm Rodney Perry, also known as King, and this is King Cooks, the only cooking series where not only do you get a good recipe to add to your repertoire, but also some life hack, some type of perspective or advice to just help you be a better you. Now, today we are talking grits and consent. Now, word on the streets, in real life, and virtually, is that a lot of you fellas really don't know or understand exactly how to practice consent. I think I can be the one to help you figure that out. So, consent. So, Webster's dictionary says that consent is when you agree or allow for something to be done. And I think that's really the simplest way to put it. How often are people actually agreeing or allowing certain things to be done? There's so many non-verbals and misunderstandings about how we must interact that I think it's confusing a lot of people. But I think there's a way to kind of get a real true understanding. And also, I gotta point out, how often are you, men out there in the world, actually truly considering how often you enforce the boundaries that you have, are acknowledging the boundaries that you have, and making sure everyone that you deal with are practicing consent with you? Not even just in sexual or intimate spaces, but everybody. Everybody. Keep in mind when you don't practice consent, that it's basically this non-verbal way of you dismissing someone's agency of how they want to interact with you. It's basically forcing them to be a certain way with you that they didn't opt into. And that's not really cool. It's not cool for you when people do that to you, and it's not cool when you do it to others. Every single no or every single rejection of a particular action or gesture or whatever it is should be respected and understood. Understand that you also have to practice this. And I think that's what the missing piece is. I think men are kind of indoctrinated to believe they have to allow so much, and they don't. Just like with grits. When it comes to grits, somebody tell you about to fix you some grits and they make you some sweet grits, which is probably what you didn't want. You kind of feel away, right? That's not what you were expecting. That's not what you asked for. That's not what you opted into. See how a situation that you can affirm, but also decline can all happen at the same time? Makes sense? Hope it does. Nevertheless, I think that more than anything, we all have to practice consent because there's no reason why anybody's boundaries should be pushed past their limits and people to feel disrespected. Make sure that you are always practicing consent in the best way possible. Last thing, consent can seem like the mood killer, but in reality, it's nothing more sexier than an affirmative. Everyone loves to hear yes, 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 more than they do no. So, practice consent and have some grits. Show you how I make mine. Let's start with all the ingredients that you'll need for this recipe, and let's get into it. First, go ahead and start a pot of water, about 2 cups. Then we're gonna just prep some of our veggies and the sausage. Start by chopping up that whole onion. If you have a more larger onion, that's the only one you had, that's cool. Just chop that up, about half of it. If you're making more, if you're not just cooking for yourself, make sure that you just double everything in terms of the portion size. Chop that in half, then do the pepper. Same situation. If you're cooking for more people, use more. Go ahead and you'll see I'm using this great garlic press. Highly suggest you get this garlic press. It's great for you to be able to mince your own garlic. If you ever have anything that takes real garlic in the recipe, why not make it make sense? Instead of you sitting there having to chop things for a million times, something as small as garlic, just get a press. It makes it so much easier. Then you need to change your cutting board. Make sure you change your cutting board. Then chop up the sausage as thin or as thick as you like. I try to keep mine, a nice, good, just a handful of centimeters thick. Because I want it to be thin so I can have as many pieces of sausage as I can, Then you heat up a pan. Go ahead and drop about a tablespoon of butter. Go ahead and throw the onions and the peppers in there. Once you get to a nice, good, soft and browning, then you need to add your garlic. Let that get in there. Let that do its thing. start seasoning the things as well. Use all the seasonings right here, add those to it, make it make sense, brown that down. Then you're gonna add your sausage. And make sure that you adjust the heat for this as well. Add your sausage, make it make sense, get them to a nice good brown, and just keep letting that sit. Take that tablespoon of the bouillon base, put it in the water, also with another tablespoon of butter. Make sure that you wash your grits before you put them in the boiling water. Make sure you do that. If you need to adjust the water content, add a little more water because you feel like, you want it to be a certain texture, adjust as you desire. So we're gonna let that boil and boil up and get just right. Because once it starts to pop, then we need to start stirring and seasoning, okay? Make sure that you set your sausage, peppers, onions, and garlic to the side so that it doesn't overcook, by the way. So now once we get to a point to where it's starting to boil, the grits are starting to solidify and thicken up, make sure you get a nice good spatula to go ahead and start stirring that thing on up. It'll start to continue to thicken and you'll need to then start seasoning your grits. Add a little more butter if you need to, just for, for flavor's sake and for smoothness, but start seasoning with all these seasonings here. I don't know about y'all, but I don't know anybody who really should really like sweet grits. So if you wanted to get a sweet grit recipe, I could probably suggest a few for you because I'm not making it. Just a little shade in the middle of this recipe. But back to it. So after you've already stirred up your grits, it's gotten to this consistency where it is not only sticking to that spatula or to that spoon that you're using, but it's just flowing off so slowly. Now that is exactly what we're looking for. So, and don't forget the hot sauce. Make sure you add hot sauce to your things. Don't forget that. You need that little hit of spice. Now it's all about plating. We're gonna plate all this stuff up. Get your grits in first, get a few scoops of grits. I did an optional thing that you don't have to do. I just wanted another protein, another little piece of something. So I fried me up a nice little egg, a little over hard, and put it right on top of it. Then you add your sausage right over to the side. I didn't want to do cheesy grits because I might do that in a whole nother video. So, understand that I didn't exclude the cheese on purpose. But this is something that's a great recipe no matter who you are. If you need, some cheesy grits, then I got you. But if you, or lactose intolerant, whatever it is, this is a great recipe for you. There we have it, some nice, savory, salty grits. You hear me? The only way you should make grits. Yeah. And you can obviously do and freestyle the protein however way that you see fit. You don't have to use sausage. You can use shrimp. You can put chicken. You can use steak. You can use oxtail, whatever you feel like it is. And you can still approach it in a similar way of seasoning because this is a really basic seasoning situation. So enjoy, enjoy, enjoy.
All right. Moment of truth. Let's get some of that egg. Let's get everything in this bite. You feel me? Get a little egg in there. Get some grit. Oh, it's popping out. It's popping around. So good. Grits, man. You don't know how to make grits. You're hurting yourself. You're doing a disservice to yourself. How to make grits. You now know. I told you. Go get some. It's cheap, affordable, and go a long way. Peace.